All right, guys, we're live. This is it. The end of the 21 Convention 2010 in Orlando, Florida, / North America / second one of 2010 because we did one in Stockholm, Sweden, and Europe. It goes on and on. This is it. This is the end. We got a whole bunch of questions from you guys. We're going to answer them within a 15-minute time span. Anyone up here that wants to answer it, there's one more. Can you get that one, John? Banhor, excuse me. Pardon the French. Just called you by a different name. We're going to answer them. If you guys want to answer them, just let me know. I'll hand you the mic, and you're good to go. If you ask the question, we can get a little bit more feedback from you, but we can't talk about it for like 20 minutes. That's only off camera when you attend live and spend bajillion dollars coming here. Not really, but airfare is cheap. Use my BCMO. All right. The question someone wrote was something along the lines of, speak to the way that the community has changed / improved. All right. Keep it short, especially you.
If nothing else, is like my favorite question. How the community has improved or changed over the last years, massively. Like, it's almost like a new wave has come. When I first got into this community, it was all about strictly routine-based, very weird, very underground. There was no show. The book was out, but it was like people just meeting up and, like now, a lair meeting is like going to the beach, showing their boys, having a beer, with these guys. Before, a lair meeting was we all get into like a room and we make like a little huddle circle, and we're it was almost like a dungeon feeling. We're like, so, what kind of negs and DHV stories can we come up with, guys? Like, what's your game level at? It was just really weird. But at the point, I thought it was cool because that's all we knew, right? So back then, it was super everybody had sparkling necklaces and hats and just feather bows was the rage back then, stuffed animal, everything. But now, though, a new wave has come, finally. I mean, you can see it with just the speakers, here, like normal, cool guys. You can see it by the attendees, just normal, cool guys, which is ridiculous. Like, now it's just like the average guy now, as opposed to like these really weird, creepy dudes. And I was one of them when I first got into it. I was this really just weird, dorky guy, right? So, we're now. But so basically now the biggest implement is there's a more emphasis on getting away from just, there's a girl, let's see how we can pick her up, to, hey, let's be social. Let's just be, normal, fun guys now who talk to a lot of women, have a lot of fun. They have social game. Creating a life, there's lifestyle involved now, So I'm so thankful that the community is finally moving in this direction, because I think we finally got it right. And me and my friend Chris Hart, we usually have a little joke between us, which is recently, within the last year or 2 years or so, the whole community just hit reboot. They're just like, this is not working. Like, what we're doing is just weird and creepy. It's just not working. Reboot, let's go back to the basics, and we finally got it right.
Thanks, Sek. All right, next question, rapid fire from everybody. We'll pass it around real quick. Most influential book? Body by Science, in all seriousness. I almost forgot. And I would say Meditations. But man, I love books. I've read a lot of books. Read.
I'm going to go, even though I'm an English major and the books are kind of my thing, I'm going to go with not a book. Because the most influential thing was the guys that helped me at the beginning, because I went out and I really pursued finding 2 guys that were near me that helped me out. And really, without, Nash and Johnny, I really would just not have game. So it's really to me, if you want to get your game better, do that. Find someone to help you.
See, this is a bit of a difficult answer for me, because I recently read a book that kind of opened up my eyes to the things I've been doing naturally and the things that I had processed as I was learning how to get better with game. And this book kind of opened my eyes to it on a logical level, and so I'm going to go with Psycho-Cybernetics.
Well, as far as a book is concerned that I carry with me, that is like the 4th or 5th time that I bought it, and it's completely dog-eared. It's so like people ask me, what's the biggest, most powerful magic book you've ever held in your hands? And I have to say it's the writings of Florence Scovel Shinn. If you ever get a hold of that, it's not the thing you would expect, but if you ever get a hold of that book, that'll probably be a real breakthrough. And as far as mentorship, I'd say the most powerful mentor I've ever had, and I've had some really famous kick-ass mentors, but the most powerful I've ever had was Steve P. If you ever get a chance to meet that guy, unbelievable. All right. The book is about, she coined the term the law of attraction in the 1920s, way before even Napoleon Hill wrote his book. And if you want to know, like, okay, this has been around for thousands of years, probably as old as the universe is, law of attraction. But she's the one that actually, if you want to know, before like Nightingale, Conan, before any of these other guys jumped on the bandwagon, decades before. She was a famous painter. It's Florence as a city in Rome. Scoville, that's Scovel, Shin, Shinn. And if you ever get any of her books, The Game of Life and How to Play It, or The Secret Door to Success, My Word is My Wand, and so forth. The best book out there is called The Writings of Flora Scoville Shin. It's a white book. You can find it sometimes online. Get that version. It's unbelievable magic. If you really work through that book, your life will change, like even beyond like all that new stuff that's out there. The Secret, that's mamby-pamby bullshit. This is like the real deal, okay? That's who invented this stuff, if you will. All right.
I only read the Bible. Yeah. That's why I read it. The most influential book, my cop-out answer for this one is The Game. Because without that, I wouldn't be in this. It was my motivation. It was my everything. Not because there's the greatest content or anything in it, but that was what opened my eyes to it. I mean, it's the most important book I've ever read, to be honest. As far as most influential and like what guys can read to help them with their game and whatnot, everything I like to teach should be backed on some kind of like proven psychology background. And there's a lot of psychological journals I've read that are just insanely good. But when you could buy like a Barnes and Nobles, would be the Power of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. It's a, what? Cialdini. I don't know how to pronounce it. Cialdini. Robert Cialdini. Power of Persuasion, where it talks about all the different types of persuasion techniques, backs through real studies, shows how it's implemented. Things like social proof are in there, things like authority, likability, all these kind of things. And it shows you ways to persuade people. And if you really look at it, a lot of game is basically how we can persuade these women, you know?
But it's ethical influence.
And it's ethical. Yeah, there's a major difference between persuasion and manipulation. It's not a manipulative book. It's actually just a way of persuading a girl. It's a way of helping her see things from your perspective so that she goes, you know, I do like that. I want to do this, as opposed to any kind of trickery.
Most influential book's got to be Tim Ferriss, 4 Work Week. If you haven't read it, read it. Changed my life.
That's a good influence to have. I have a 15-week course that I teach, and I recommend. I've read thousands and thousands of books. There are 3 that I recommend for this course, and the guys who actually do read the 3 books, their results are accelerated just hugely because these are very, very powerful books. The first one is called A Course in Miracles. It kind of has religious content, but I view it as metaphorical, and even if you were an atheist, as long as you just read it as a metaphor, it would apply to you. It will dissolve your ego faster than anything, I think, on the planet, pretty much. It's the most very powerful language that penetrates through to the subconscious mind, and you'll really tap into your own power by reading it. The second book is called Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg, and I talked yesterday about how vitally important empathy is for you to connect in with a woman, to be on her emotional plane, and that book will teach you at least the beginnings of that. And the third book is called The Dark Side of the Light Chasers by Debbie Ford, and it's all about the shadow self, which a lot of people who are having struggles in their life really, really need to read that book because it helps you integrate that dark side into your light side and really be a much more integrated, balanced person.
Here. I actually want to go with 2 things here. For me, this was Pre-Community, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Tremendous book. If you haven't read it, fucking read it. Influential for me, being in the community, was the fact that I came in and started getting good, and then I realized that others needed my help, and it was in the lair, and that actually boosted me to have to become a better seducer, a better person, so that I could help the other people.
I'd say The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. Howard Rourke is somebody that. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, yeah. It starts out good and never stops. The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, and Anne is spelled A-Y-N or something strange like that. Ayn Rand, yeah. The Way of the Superior Man by David Data is fantastic, and then the third one is Practicing the Power of Now. Eckhart Tolle. So there's the New Earth, there's the Power of Now. Those are okay. The one I just listen to on audio almost daily sometimes is called Practicing the Power of Now. And get your hands on that one. That the headspace that one puts you in, the kind of in touch with yourself and outside is second to none. Cool. Say what? Is A Way of the Superior Man. Yeah. It's like the textbook for guys, basically. You can't hear me? Can't you hear me? Oh, okay.
No, the mic. Yeah, that book's been hawked like relentlessly at this convention since 2007 for a good reason, because it's freaking awesome. Do you want to get that question too that got addressed to you?
Sure. Okay, it says, I identify with a lot of things you said. It seems that your techniques take a lot of inner confidence. How do you develop that confidence, and what are some ways you recommend for other guys to get it? Pretty tough question. I've got a big background in all kinds of different, self-development stuff. For you guys getting into it, I suggest physical development, mental development, and emotional. Okay, so, physical is kind of your root. If you guys aren't lifting weights or exercising, several times a week, I'd say you're wrong. Okay, the human body is designed for physical exertion. That gives you confidence rooted in your body, which is a big deal. Emotional confidence, look up A Way of the Superior Man that teaches a guy what his founding is in this world, what he needs to be concerned with, what he doesn't need to be concerned with, what if he finds himself stressing over something, he needs to realize, I have to let this go. Emotional, physical, and intellectual. I've also done a lot of leadership development. I'm an ex-officer. I suggest all of you guys get into some kind of leadership development course of any kind. Okay, I got out of the military and started doing this stuff right here. Actually was doing it while I was in the military, and it's the same deal. Okay, you lead others, you lead yourself. It's how you interact with women. It's how you interact with the guys. It's how you interact with the social environment. So leadership development of any kind. I also suggest you guys become independent in every way. Mental, emotional, financial, the kind of support you give yourself from a lifestyle that's rooted in you pursuing excellence in all areas is going to give you the kind of confidence that isn't shaken by anything. Another thing I'd say is that I don't feel a pull to be anything I'm not. Okay, and I want to talk about this during my speech. I didn't get a chance to. Back when I was younger, I still thought I was a pimp. Like, you guys understand, confidence is rooted in your trust in yourself. If you feel like you gotta, you saw me up here and I'm talking about this or that, and you feel like, shit, I'm not getting those kinds of results, I'm not where I'm supposed to be at, that's crap. You guys are your own source. You guys are your own form of validation. You've got to get that straight, okay? I talked to 5 girls tonight. One of them liked me. I'm a pimp, okay? You got to get that down. That is you guys. You guys are your own source, all right? I don't follow the standards of I want to have sex with 100 girls in a year. This guy does, yeah. Me personally, I have sex with maybe 5 girls, rapid fire, and I'm I never want to have sex again. I don't have this crazy ass sex drive. Sometimes it goes down like that, but if you guys aren't naturally just trying to if your sex drive is and you're always wanting it, don't worry about it, okay? Hit your own standards, be your own source of validation, and therefore confidence. I guess that's it.
Damn, that was badass. All right, last question before we wrap up the whole event It was worded, how to get rid of apologizing for escalation. I assume you mean physical escalation or sexual escalation? Sexual escalation. And whoever wants to answer it, we can just kind of keep it quick. How to get rid of apologizing for escalation.
I'll start.
Yeah. 30 seconds.
Oh, in the speed version, first off, shut up. A lot of times when guys escalate, they verbalize the fact that they're escalating with an apology or some sort of statement, or not, I don't know, 95% of the times that you're saying something when you're about to escalate, you're making an excuse for yourself. So just don't say anything. At first, don't say anything at all. Yeah, that's basically, that's man, step one. If don't say anything, you want to apologize. After that, I'd like to, tell girls what I'm about to do as I'm doing it, because it's a good way, like, if you can verbalize it and say it, like, okay, for instance, if I've got some girl over my house and she sits over, far away from me, I'm like, oh, no, you have to come over here and cuddle with me. That's not an apology. It's a statement. That's what I'm doing. It's what is happening. I'm not asking for it. I'm not asking for it. It's not a question. It's, this is what I'm going to do. And yeah, sure, sometimes, they, like, no, I don't want to do that yet or whatever. But, I'm not apologizing for it, and that's how you do it. So, rule one, be quiet. If you really have to say something, say what you're doing. Don't just, yeah, just be clear. Just say, like, this is what I'm going to do. And saying what you're doing sometimes can help because it, they don't know necessarily why you're grabbing them anyway.
Can I ask real quick what you're apologizing for? Like at what stage? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it's been as simple as like, it's been as simple as like grabbing her ass all the way to freaking like, push her against the wall for a makeout. It's been around that area, not so much like in the bedroom. I'm pretty good once you get there. It's more like mid-interaction.
Before or after you do the action, do you apologize?
If you can't hear this, you gotta be here. Sorry.
Actually
Yeah.
apologize, like verbally?
No, it's more like, oh, no, I'm not trying
Okay,
to.
okay. I just want to make that. Okay.
All right, let's start talking to the mic. Let's start talking to the mic.
For one.
So you just feel guilty. Okay, so you just feel guilty about doing it afterward. You feel like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, maybe. Okay. Then what you want to do? I just want to clear that up because I think there's some confusion on if you're feeling like, oh, I do have to say sorry for doing that, or you feel guilty about it. And I think my quick info, give it over to Batiste, real thing, is just realizing women like it. They want sex as much as you do, I mean, sometimes a lot more. Man, the disgusting things I've seen girls do, or the crazy. I've had a girl try to rape me, like literally rape me, like, yeah, like, well, basically what happened was we had sex, and then she wanted to go for round two. I'm done, as man was saying. I'm a sex drive. I'm content. This is where the bear sleeps now, but like I'm good. So, but she was not having it. So she tried jumping on top of me. She tried me down to try to force it in. It's not going anywhere, Like, I don't know how she thought the anatomy would work for that. But I was just not having it. So eventually I kind of threw her off. I'm like, you need to calm down. And then she just started, like, trying to tackle me again. So I push her off. And now I see her on the floor crawling after me, this crazy look in her eye. I ran to the bathroom, scared out of my mind, and locked the door. So there is a dark side to game, gentlemen. Like, there's a problem that can sometimes happen.
Well, here's the thing, my man. When it comes down to a man and a woman, they have sex, dude. That's how it comes down. You're saying that you feel guilty about this. You shouldn't, okay? Physically escalating, that's leading. That's leading the interaction to a sexual place. And that's something that she wants. It's something that you want. Why should you feel guilty about something that you want and women want? You got to get rid of that belief, my man. You got to get rid of that.
Go ahead, take it.
A big mindset, man, is that escalation is giving, not taking. Okay, it's something that you give to her, not something that you're taking away from her. And when you start to realize that escalating, right, or going for it, or leading, or being the man, right, that stuff is giving value, and it's not anything about you taking anything from her, then you'll realize, you know what, this is what I have to do, right? A woman will never forgive you for being a pussy, blatantly, okay? But she will forgive you for being a little bit miscalibrated. You go for it, and it's kind of the wrong time, and she's not ready yet, or you don't do it all that effectively, she will forgive you for that. She will not forgive you for not being a man.
Can I take that back for 1 second? Okay, with food you just said there, with given, check this one out. There was a study that was put out there that women that had sex and were ejaculated in ended up having a euphoric high from it. So you are making them feel good with your cum.
Yeah, I think we need a girl perspective. I'm actually going to give you both perspectives, my female perspective and my coach perspective, okay? Female perspective, as I just described this beautiful, perfect seduction yesterday, as the woman, the experience I want from you is seamlessness. I want to just melt into the sexual experience. I do not want to think about it. I do not want to feel guilty about it. I do not want to feel self-conscious about it. I want to have the experience and for you to be with me fully. When you're apologizing, you have lost presence. You are not there with me. And so you're interrupting that experience that I described yesterday. So you're actually taking by apologizing. You see what I mean? From a coach perspective, guilt always shows up when you think you're taking. So it matches exactly with what I just said, all right? The way that you get rid of guilt is, well, first of all, you just got to get present with it and get clarity about it. But the way that ultimately you get rid of it is you reframe everything as a win-win. So whenever it's win-win, you will not feel any guilt, but you have to believe that in your heart and soul, that it is win-win and it is, as all these guys are saying, a gift to her. Then you won't lose presence, because guilt is the great saboteur. It fucks up everything.
Sum it all up, they like penis.
I feel like I misunderstood the question to begin with, so I want to add one more thing. When you apologize and you feel guilty, you make her feel guilty because you feel guilty. If you're guilty about your sexuality, you're going to make her feel like, oh, this guy, isn't comfortable, leading and being sexual and stuff. So when you do that, you make her feel like, oh, when I'm around him, I can't be sexual because he's afraid to be sexual. So, just one little thing. Oh, no, one more.
All right. I got to say something about that, too, because one of the things, I think if there's one thing you guys can learn, say, from Jason Savage, for instance, with his Savage Triangle there, the whole dichotomy between real good seduction, or eduction, if you will, and the whole pickup mentality, which comes from lack, trying to get something. Why does there so many IT guys, so many hackers in pickup? Because the one thing you guys got to really learn, everybody, even watching at home, if you can learn one friggin' thing from this whole thing, get out of the mentality of lack and trying to get something from a woman, assuming that she wouldn't, want to give it to you anyway. Rather switch over in that, abundance mentality where you're saying, look, I have something to give. We're just sharing something together. I'm a man. I have power. You have power. I'm sharing this with you. And then it's a natural seduction or eduction. You're naturally bringing out what's already in the woman, provided that, you know how to handle all that, and that you're really present with her, and that you really actually think that you have something to give and actually have something to give. Instead of demonstrating higher value, why not have real value? Work on that, if anything.
All right, guys, that was it for the questions we're going to answer today, because this would go on forever and ever, which has happened in Stockholm. It was like all day. It was all day long.
Do you have a course of action that you would do now to fix this? I'm sorry.
I hope, dude. I hope.
An actual action plan here. It's a good.
I think from that he can formulate something so complex. He can write an ebook and sell it for $1 billion and make even $100 billion.
That's the basis of a PhD thesis right there. Figure it out.
More or less, yes. We got in the event, guys. I guess where I stand up. No more one thing. We're ending this because this is what we do throughout the 4 days of the event and for the whole time, because you guys are here to help people and do an awesome job at it. No joke. Every single one of you guys. You guys have had the opportunity to do this for days and days and days, and I'm glad we could do it. And you guys can keep asking the questions, but it's got to be off camera because we got in the event, wrap up, pack the equipment. So I guess where I say some one-liner that wraps up the whole event. It's really special, and I had it written out, and it's super awesome. And you know what? I don't have that. I'm not a catchphrase kind of guy. I'm just this guy that loves doing this event. We just did it twice for the first time ever, back to back in Europe and North America. It was an awesome time, and I can't thank you guys enough for coming. And I hope to see you guys next year. And if you guys really, really want to help this convention, a lot of you guys have expressed that to me throughout the event, repeatedly, again and again and again and again and again. Come to this event as many times as you can in London next June, Orlando next July, and push your friends to come, even if you can't make it because of school, work, or whatever. Push your friends to come, tell your friends about it, and I'll see you guys next year.